plans to create a high-speed rail link across England should be dramatically accelerated and increased in ambition. The man brought in to sort out the £50 billion HS2 project tells the government today. In his long-awaited report on the progress of the rail link, Sir David Higgins is to tell ministers their only chance of keeping the costs under control is to be bolder and get the job done quickly as possible. Opponents of HS2 have complained the initial phase, running from London to Birmingham, would bring no benefits to the north. Sir David's response is to make phase 1 stretch another 43 miles to the old, well-established railway town of Crewe, which should become a major transport hub 6 years earlier than currently planned. Speeding up the project would, he says, help keep costs under control because it will reduce uncertainty and limit the impact of inflation. Well, that's what he says. Joe Rukin is campaign manager from the group Stop HS2, joins me now. What's your organisation saying, Mr. Rukin?
Well, this is amazing. It's taken David Higgins to come up with a cost-cutting report. That was what it was always about. That doesn't actually save a single penny. Now, he's now saying that, well, if you build it quicker, you can save money because you cut out inflation. Well, that's a sound theory if you'd ever included inflation in your costings to start off with. The 42.6 billion or the 50 billion with trains, because it will miss off the cost of the trains, is still on 2011 prices. So you've got 3 years worth of inflation just to get it up to today's costs. So saying that, the budget's fine is absolute fraud, because you're miles out of date with these costs. And, Crewe's going to become a transport hub. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Crewe is a transport hub, has been a transport hub for a good 150 years.
I don't think currently
hub
I think he wants to revolutionise Crewe. From my reading of this plan, it would be far greater than it is currently, Mr. Rukin. That's his theory, anyway.
Well, let's be honest, the only reason anyone knows where Crewe is because that's where they have to change trains. The reality is that if being a transport hub was going to be this massive economic boon, then Crewe already would be one of the most prosperous places in the country because it's always been a transport hub. And there's no better example that high-speed rail doesn't deliver economic benefits than yesterday's decision to bring a new town to Ebbsfleet, because high-speed rail, HS1, was meant to revolutionise Ebbsfleet. It was meant to bring jobs and growth and development. It didn't. So now, 7 years down the line, what's the solution? We'll build a dormitory suburb for London at Ebbsfleet. And that's what Crewe's got to look forward to.
With tremendous rail links down there at Dartford.
Yeah.
I appreciate the slip is ridiculous, 7 years, but in a way, you're speaking in favour of these high-speed rail links, because here's an opportunity. We all know that I think people all accept we need to build more houses in this country. Well, maybe this rail link will speed that up, and we could have people commuting into Euston from Crewe and Sheffield.
Well, that's the thing, that this is being sold as something that will deliver jobs and growth to the north, and it's not. It's going to deliver new commuting belts to London. And whatever your argument, whether that or not that's a good thing, whether or not that's necessary, it is quite irrelevant. The point is that HS2 will not deliver on what's being promised, and places like Sheffield and Leeds and Manchester are being sold a pup, because all HS2 will do is suck more economic activity to London. If you want to regenerate the northern cities, the last thing you'd want to do is make it quicker and easier to get to London. You spend development money on those cities. Don't bring in a rail link that no one needs.
Just lastly, Mr. Rukin, away from the arguments and to the reality, can you remind my listeners, where are we currently? Is the work actually about to begin? Is it still mired in the courts? Where exactly do we stand at this time?
Well, we're looking at the Phase 1 hybrid bill. Is due to go to the second reading in the House of Commons probably next month. But then you've got a very lengthy petitioning process, which, Crossrail took 2 years to get through Parliament. And I very much expect that HS2 Phase 1 will take as long.
An additional 2 years from where we are now, you mean?
Oh, yeah. They were saying that they wouldn't start building it until 2017 anyway. And this whole concept that you can just add another 40-odd miles to the Phase 1 hybrid bill when the Phase 1 hybrid bill is already in Parliament seems a little bit bizarre. And I really don't know how David Higgins thinks that this is actually possible to do.
Joe Rukin, thank you. Your campaign manager from the group Stop HS2. Let's talk to John Craig. Probably your last but one offering, John. Back to you. What you got?
I'd say that HS2 is more controversial than Crossrail, actually, and have faced more of a battle to get through Parliament.
So 2 years at a minimum.
Oh, I would have thought so. There's such opposition.